The Caribbean Digital Transformation Project is attempting to make our lives more convenient. People are concerned, however, with a sense of security, privacy of their information online. As for example, our national bank was robbed recently by a hacking. The government is attempting to put safeguards in place to address these issues, and therefore it is important to follow the developments as they go on and participate or express your concerns by getting in contact with them. Because that firm you refer to, where are they from? Who are they?
It's a partnership between a legal firm out of Ireland and Anguilla. So there are two local lawyers on there as well. So while it was an international tender, one of the requirements that we asked is that local lawyers be part of it, because obviously they need to know what.
And they need to interpret it.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Because in Europe, they have what they call a general data protection regulation, which is called the toughest in the world, and they recognize privacy and data privacy as being an important fundamental right. Now, when we have data and privacy, we think of, just one more question, by the way. In terms of data protection legislation, naturally, if a matter comes before, a criminal matter perhaps, will law enforcement gain access to that information?
Well, those are policies and those haven't been defined as yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, in terms of data, the average person would assume their browsing history online, their financial transactions online, but there is another layer which is quite interesting, because there's this gentleman back in 2018, right? He is a professor, Mr. Uval, correctly. Noah Harai, he is a professor in Bible history at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Israel. Now, at the World Economic Forum 2018, he made some comments that were startling. One, we did acknowledge that data is one of the most valuable assets right now. And just to clarify, land is considered an asset, but that created a two-tier society, like those who have more land, we consider aristocrats, the others are commoners, and then industrialization age, we had industrialization, very technological machines, machinery. So that created a capitalist society and everybody else. So the age of data we are entering right now, he stated that it's going to create another shift in society where it's not going to be the rich versus poor, but it's going to create different species. I was like, wow, what do you mean by that? So he was saying, in advancement of science, like we have computer power right now, but in terms of biometric data, specifically, the advancing brain technology, brain study, and so on, there is a possibility where if human information, right? Let's see here. So he was stating that if we're able to tap in, use technology and bioinformation, then biometric sensors to human body could translate biochemical processes going in our brain and into electronic signals that our computer can sort of analyze. We do have biometric data in most pieces right now, right? So he says that will enable them to create an algorithm for organisms. And he said it as well that if that is able to be done, then there's a possibility for manipulation. And those who have access to data, access to your body, where you can know how you think, how you feel, how your brain works, then there'll be some degree of control. I mean, way beyond the average rate. What do you think about that? That whole, not digitization of people information or records, but of human body.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you ever see that you're thinking of something, or either you're thinking of something, or you may have just had a conversation with somebody on buying a pair of shoes, and you say, okay, I want to go on Amazon or wherever and buy me a pair of Nike, And lo and behold, when you get back to your desktop or your laptop or even your phone, you start seeing all these ads popping up about Nike shoes and sale and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now,
So-
these companies, they have access to your online history. They know what you shop, they know what you search, what your interest is, and so on. But the other layer of that is when they have access to your bio data, then maybe new technology coming up soon will have be able to, read your eyes, feel what you want. They tap into that. And then they can manipulate your thinking in a particular way because that will enable them to know you better than your own self.
That's the point I'm trying to make, that all of this is already existing because by taking our search history, they don't even have to go as far as tapping into our consciousness or our brains, just by the digital footprint that
Right.
we leave online. Somebody have already figured out algorithms to know our spending habits, decide that we
Yeah, but that is the base level everybody knows. But the other layer is you becoming an algorithm. Where in your right hands, crafty people is beyond psychology now. You're gonna change your thinking, which is you respond. Because you're gonna access your blood pressure, how your body reacts to stuff. So then imagine, somebody that information can have a teenager determine their own sexuality. Because a lot of people say, oh, when I was 21, I didn't realize I was gay. But then imagine a teenager online, right? They look at you and they feed that into you, making you believe, oh my God. So whoever is in control of data, gonna rule not just the future of humanity, but like life itself. Because that taps into so many other areas, which I know we kind of limited for time. So that'll be for another day. But I think now it's time for us. I'm really happy that you're putting registration in place and getting right. But I think another question is, when that data is generated, who's gonna have access to it? Who's gonna control it?
Well, I mean, government data is government data. There are data that is for public consumption, and the relevant personnel or the relevant individuals, the relevant business or the government that needs access to data, that will be provided because the whole point of digitizing is to be able to make concrete decisions. And to make concrete decisions, you need data. So what is the point of, going through a process of ensuring that you have data, but then you're going to hold on to it and restrict decision making, restrict, factual and fact-based decision making. So obviously there are some data and there's some information that everybody will not and should not have access to. But then there are data that everybody needs to have access to. And so again, the necessary legislation, the necessary policies will be put in place to sanction and to prevent persons that should not have access to data.
Well, that's kind of tricky because it's kind of tricky because, for example, Microsoft, IBM, these big tech companies, they really have the capacity, the tech power to do all of that. Governments don't really have much of that. And for example, we have Bill Gates. You know he's one of the main private donors to WHO. Right now, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the powers have been expanded where even us are subject to WHO directives. They're trying to put things in place where they will dictate health policy of almost all the world. So when you have computer power like Microsoft, Bill Gates, and then if you get access to our personal health history or bio information, which is what he getting into, they're gonna have more power than our own government. So not only gonna be, there's a God in the clouds, as one would say, that controls things on earth, because they're gonna transform us with AI and all that information, artificial intelligence, where we're gonna transform, evolve from an organic state into something inorganic. So the God above, the sky, we're gonna have gods on earth with information in their clouds and they control everything. Are we really ready for that? Or do we understand what's really happening?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one, because if we look at the trend and we even look at what movies have been selling, I don't think I don't think the movies, are far off because we are already using artificial intelligence. It's something that we are already using. We are already using, RFID chips and all of those things. So it's not things that are like novice, so to speak. It's already in use.
And those ideas go back like 40 years ago. So we got so much advanced in that.
Definitely, and technology is advancing, but I really have to go. Technology is advancing,
Okay, one final question. Blockchain. If we digitize everything, then we're going to have systems of accountability. And is the government going to incorporate the blockchain technology into whatever it is they're trying to do?
The government hasn't taken any decision as it relates to blockchains and so on. But again, technology is evolving. And if we're speaking about ensuring that we are modern and we have state of the art and we're actually keeping up with the world trend, then obviously there are some things that we will have to incorporate into what we're doing.
Because the real
as it
attraction
is now, we have no decision on those things.
Okay, because the attraction of blockchain, the purpose of it is to develop trust and a sense of transparency and accountability where there isn't room for much tampering. For example, here we have a whole debate of electoral where the ballots are tampered with, the lists are tampered with. If we were to digitize our electoral system, the voting process, where that technology is incorporated, then perhaps there will be little to no room for tampering of recorded information like votes, right?
I can't speak on that because I really do not. I mean, it's something that's far outreaching. I've never heard of ballots being tampered in Dominica, but it's not something that I can really speak on because it's not really my knowledge.
The concept of blockchain was about back in 1970s. So it was actually new. But Dr. Jean-Pierre, thank you so much once again for the good work you do. We look forward to town hall meetings and to learn more about our data protection laws.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.